What's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live this morning from somewhere in the Bay Area on this Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. And I wanted to make this video to talk about the recent developments that occurred a couple of days ago. There was an article that was talking about the company Intercom, or Audacy, formerly known as Intercom. This is a company that has hundreds and hundreds of radio stations across the country. It's been on the news for the last 2 years because of their financial problems and the fact that they were hemorrhaging multiple millions of dollars in losses. Well, a couple of months ago, it was reported that Audacy had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because of the fact that their debt had ballooned beyond $1 billion. I believe it was $1.7 billion. And just recently, a couple of days ago, it was announced that Hungarian-born businessman George Soros, a guy who many political pundits or people that are involved with politics always talk about, especially the right-wingers. The right-wingers in this country always utter his name to invoke anger and fear and amongst their base. Well, George Soros, who does tend to lean to the left politically speaking, acquired 40% of the company's debt, which means that he's going to have a say in how these radio stations across the country are run moving forward. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of speculation as to what George Soros' intent is to buy 40% of the debt of Audacy. Obviously, this is a huge network of radio stations. You're talking about 500 radio stations across the country that he can actually use to promote his political agenda. And nothing has been official, nothing has come up as far as what his intentions are, how he's going to be using these radio stations. But there is speculation that perhaps he might start launch a progressive, liberal political platform in some of these radio stations across the country. However, the article was also mentioning that even if that is the case, even if that is his intention, due to the minutia of all the legal minutia that's taking place, and how long it's going to take to reactivate the company from bankruptcy, it may not be fast enough to have any political influence on the 2024 general election for November. So best case scenario would be that if he indeed launches a progressive left-leaning talk platform across multiple radio stations in this country to counterbalance the right-wing echo machine that exists in this country. There's thousands and thousands of right-wing radio stations that just spew a lot of hatred and lies, and that's why, Fox so-called news was hit with an $800 million lawsuit, is because they spew a bunch of lies. Well, George Soros is going to try to counterbalance that, and the best case scenario would be for these radio stations to be ready probably by 2025. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not over the next couple of months, you start seeing progressive talk radio across this country. And if it does happen, as I look at my clock, if it does happen, then you know why. Because George Soros has purchased 40% of the debt of Audacy, of the Audacy company that was formerly known as Entercom. And Entercom has a lot of radio stations, primarily on the FM dial. Not so much on the AM dial. They have, most of their radio stations are on the FM dial, so that should have an even bigger outreach than what you typically get on the AM dial. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that is indeed what happens. That is his intention as to why he purchased all these radio stations. My guess is that's probably going to be the case. For what other reason, for what other reason would he buy so many radio stations? It just doesn't make any sense. This is a guy who has funded so many left-leaning political activities across this country. Everybody knows this. The right wing's boogeyman, the right wing's Satan, the right wing's Antichrist. Just like Charles Koch is to the left, to the left-leaning, to the left wing of this country. Charles Koch, who finances and funds a lot of right-wing activities as well. In the media, in Congress, in the Senate. He's even funding Nikki Haley's failed presidential run. Charles Koch is behind this. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that is indeed what happens. But I just wanted to share this information for those of you that are not perhaps familiar with the developing story. And that is that 400 to 500 stations are going to be changing formats probably in the next year or so. And the only question is whether or not it's going to be political or if it's going to be a different format. Maybe music, maybe entertainment, maybe sports, whatever the case may be. But my guess is that he's going to use many of those radio stations to launch a progressive network of political talk. That's my guess. Anyway, just wanted to share this information. It is, again, Wednesday, February the 21st, 2024, and I am signing off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.